Wendy Williams, former radio host turned TV host. According to TMZ, she has recently received a diagnosis that says that she does not have dementia. Obviously, this is a big deal because she has been kept under a guardianship type of deal for, I believe, a couple years now, maybe something like that, at least a year. And this has been a big topic of conversation because obviously she had that interview with Charlemagne where it seemed very much like she was not suffering from dementia. And people have been sounding the alarm on this for quite some time. And it seems like we might be reaching a conclusion soon. Obviously, the other side of this is going to keep fighting to keep her under the guardianship. But it does seem like there is some light here, some hope here, especially with all of the public attention on this topic now. I do think we could be looking at a similar situation as Free Britney, where there might be a conclusion to all of this that is actually positive. I did want to talk about this topic a little bit because this is something that we don't really think about or discuss on a daily basis, and we should. You should care about disability. You should care about the rights of people who have disabilities because all of us at some point will be disabled. It is all but inevitable. As you get older, as your body gets older, you will encounter illness, you will encounter accidents, you will encounter things that can lead to you becoming disabled in some way, shape, or form. Whether it is a natural occurrence or something caused by an outside force, it doesn't matter. It is best to assume that someday you will need to care about the rights of people with disabilities because you will be one of those people. So I do think it's important that we pay attention to topics like guardianships and these sort of events, and we ask ourselves the question, is a conservatorship worth the stripping away of autonomy of rights from the person who is being put under that guardianship? And how do we keep it from becoming a situation like this, where someone is being taken advantage of, where someone is being exploited and abused under the system? For something like this, I guess you would focus more on mental health advocacy and resources for mental health, because I don't think that someone with dementia needs to be completely stripped of their autonomy just because they may or may not get themselves into a situation that could be dangerous for them or bad for them. There should be somebody who is perhaps accompanying them and looking out for them, but that doesn't mean that you need to lock them away in a tower somewhere, essentially, and ignore them and let them have no access to anybody. Obviously, the reason they were doing that to Wendy is because they were probably trying to hide the fact that she does not have dementia. And I guess my point is that you should be talking about this. You should be advocating and pushing for reform in these issues because someday it very well may affect you. And obviously people say that about pretty much any topic. It's like you never know when you might be poor, or you never know when you might need help or whatever, of course. But when it comes to disability, it is a very real reality, a very strong likelihood that at some point in your life, you will need assistance because you are disabled. It's truly that simple. It is just the natural process of growing old, of our bodies getting older, of living life and having things happen to us. And it's not as controllable as maybe your finances are. To some degree, you probably feel a level of control over the fact that you will never be broke. You can probably manage your finances enough in some way, shape, or form that barring some extreme circumstance, you will have some money available to you. There's only so much you can do when it comes to your body and fighting off disability, if that's how you want to view it. Obviously, the healthier you are, the better you take care of yourself, the less likely you are to sort of encounter certain conditions or illnesses that may lead to disability. Like if you manage your weight, you won't have something like high blood pressure or diabetes, which could lead to kidney failure eventually. That kind of thing. With that being said, though, there's only so much you can do in that circumstance. And eventually, you will just get older, and eventually you will just have to deal with the fact that you can't do things the way you used to, and you likely need some sort of assistance. So, this is not just about dementia and mental health and people trapping you in a conservatorship that you definitely don't need to be in, but it's also about physical disabilities. It's also about just growing older. It can be about smaller things, like maybe you need reading glasses now, or you need a cane, or something like that. Either way, you should be focused on making the world as accessible as possible to people with disabilities, because even if just for purely selfish reasons, it will eventually affect you. So, if not for other people, if not for people who are living with disabilities right now, you should care for yourself for the future, where you will likely be living with a disability yourself. Of course, you should just do it because of the people who are living with disabilities right now and who need it. That is part of being in a community, that is part of being in a society. Wendy Williams is just one case. I can't imagine how many people who don't have the resources that Wendy Williams has who might be suffering the same thing or a similar thing. I need people to really reframe how they view mental health, how they view mental illness. A lot of people do think that Britney Spears was mentally ill enough that she couldn't make her own decisions. And I'm not saying that maybe she didn't need some level of assistance in that regard, but to completely strip her of her autonomy is an entirely different thing. Worse yet, we have a system that views a conservatorship of this kind as care. So especially when people like Britney Spears or Wendy Williams have these sort of things exposed, I really need people to think about the people who don't have the same resources, who don't have the same celebrity status, who don't have the same public support behind them. People who will only be free from these situations if the laws change, if we continue to advocate for change and push for the legal change of these systems. So, to put it simply, I just think that we all need to care a little bit more when it comes to disability, when it comes to the rights of people with disability. Because again, even if you don't care about your fellow man, which you should, you obviously care about yourself. And it's the extreme of this, but maybe someday you'll be in Wendy's situation. And if I were there, I would want to know that I did everything in my power to advocate for the rights of people like myself. That's all I have for you. So if you liked this video, give it a like for me, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Were you following this situation at all? I know a lot of people have, so let me know your thoughts on it. And hit that subscribe button while you're down there for me. I'd really appreciate it. I am trying to hit 200 subscribers by the end of November, and probably not going to make it, but I'd like to get as close as I can. So if you'd like to help me out, please do. And that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself. Free Palestine, free Sudan, and goodbye.